Bryan, what's happening? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Thanks for chopping shop with me here today, or putting some time aside to do so. And excited to get you on board and just share with audiences a little bit about who you are, your music, etc. And got to hearing some of your stuff that you were piecing together, and I was like, okay, I like what I'm hearing here. Let me chop it up with this guy and see what's up with him. So thank you for joining me.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt. Well, hey, I want to kickstart, if we could, a little bit talking about a combination of things, because you do have solo projects that you're working on, right? But obviously, that isn't the holistic part of the picture here. I know that you also were formative in establishing a group, back in '08. If that was your inception, I don't know if it was or not, or if you've done stuff before that. But Luna J's, the band that you initially were a part of spearheading a little bit, right? Talk to me a little bit about Luna J. What's Luna J all about?
So Luna J was a whole thing that I started out of college with a few friends of mine, and we were kind of more of a funky, kind of groovy, kind of pop kind of style. We did a lot of different vibes and styles as well throughout. We kind of changed throughout. I'm kind of somebody that doesn't really stick with a lot of genre kind of based stuff. So I've kind of always just gone with what I'm writing in the moment. For a long time, that's kind of the direction it went. It was kind of more of a funky, kind of bluesy kind of thing. And we had the same band from 2010 to 2018. And then we switched over to different people. We kind of started cycling out more. And then when the pandemic hit, it made it really difficult to be in a band anymore. It just made it really hard to get actually paid for a full band. And so people were trying to, pay us for like solo money. And so I was like, well, maybe I could just be a solo artist. So I kind of just started doing the solo artist thing. And that's been what I've been doing mostly for the past 5 years or so.
Gotcha. So you alluded to not staying in the box with any particular genre, and that's one thing I did pick up on it, and I noticed that you've kind of blended in and back and forth, or in and out, I should say, with a combination of genres like pop and bluesy rock, funk, and now even more so, it sounds like you're kind of in the country space. Is that fair to say, or what would you call it?
Yeah, I would say my solo side right now has been very, very kind of country oriented, songwriter oriented. I don't know if I'd say it's country. I don't sound like a country singer, so it's not really like super country sounding, but it has more of that flavor. And I've always been somebody that very much serves the song, if that makes sense. So yeah. So when I write a song, I try to think about like what would make this song sound the best for what it is. Cool. And I've always written a lot of different styles, and I've just decided like I'm just going to produce it how it fits the song and see how it works. So the things I've been writing lately have been along that lines, and I've been producing it that way, and it's been really fun. So
yeah, that's awesome. In keeping tabs a little bit about your kind of track record around, I mean, you've been playing quite a bit, right? Over the last decade, right? You've played quite a bit of shows. I'd say it's probably upwards of over 500.
Oh yeah.
Is what it sounded like, right? Like, talk to me about the transition from playing as many shows as you have as a group with Luna J, and then transitioning into a solo career now. How is that impacting the way that you do shows now from a solo perspective? It has to be different.
I have to think less, I guess, in a way. Like I don't have to like prepare nearly as much from when it comes to like a set list or anything like that. Kind of like it's more freeing. I can kind of do whatever I want whenever I play a gig. So some gigs I'll play, all songwriter style stuff and really kind of chill music. Some gigs I use a looper pedal and I make it nice and big and fun. And I do a lot of rap kind of stuff mixed in, and like whatever I'm feeling in the moment. And, that's kind of the best part of it, I think. With a band, you always have to kind of look over your shoulder and make sure that they know where you're hitting next and what's going on next. And as a solo artist, it's just really freeing. You can kind of do anything you want. It's just smaller stages for the most part. Excuse me. It's just smaller stages where I'm playing a lot more listening room style stuff, 50 people, like that kind of thing. And I think I enjoy that more. I think it fits my personality more. I like to have more of a in-person, like conversation with people like the whole time. And it just makes it, I think, more of a connection to the audience. I've grown faster as a solo artist than I ever did with my band. And I think a lot of it is that connection with the audience, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was reading a little bit about, some of the people that you've been able to share a stage with as well. And this is probably in the earlier formative years with Luna J, but nonetheless, there are some pretty interesting names that came about, in that, like Grammy winner Robert Cray, the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, to name a few. How has sharing a stage with, other prolific artists and people that are actually out there making a stamp in the planet, how has that impacted and influenced like your music or style?
Man. Well, Robert Cray was the coolest thing. I've always been a huge fan of Robert Cray, like growing up and stuff. I used to watch all the Crossroads, DVDs and all that kind of stuff growing up, and fell in love with Robert Cray, fell in love with the song Time Makes Two that he does. I don't know if you know that song, but always loved Robert Cray. And it was one of the coolest things. His second encore song, whenever we played with him, was Time Makes Two. And it just was like literally the last song he played of the night. And I'm backstage watching it. And it was just such a cool experience to just like talk to his tour bus driver, talk to like all those people. I didn't get the chance to talk to Robert much. It was more just like a hi kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, man, it was really cool. Got to talk to his bass player. He was an interesting guy. And yeah, it was just, I think mostly that just kind of just keeps you going, because you play so many shows where you don't, when nobody cares what you're doing, to be honest. Sure. I mean, that's just kind of part of the life of being a musician, I think, and that people don't really see a lot. Is anybody that's ever been successful has played a lot of those shows, a lot of shows where nobody cares that they're there, really. And those kind of shows like Robert Cray, Maxwell Hughes, he used to play with the Lumineers, stuff like that, those kind of shows, man, that just kind of keeps your ego like not in the toilet, I guess. You feel like you're just a lot better than maybe you even are in the moment, I guess. Sure. is what that means to me. Like 2017, I don't feel like I'd hit my stride really as a songwriter in a lot of ways. And it was really cool to be able to just play with somebody like Robert Cray and like feel like, hey, like I can do this, and a lot of times I feel like that's kind of lost nowadays. They don't do a lot of that anymore with unknown artists, where they have an unknown artist open for them. So it was cool to have those opportunities, I feel like.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's interesting. You mentioned Maxwell Hughes, who actually just spoke with him a few months back and had an opportunity to interview with him. Yeah. And super down to earth guy. It reminds me a lot of what you talked about here, that a lot of these individuals, super down to earth people too. And when you are mixing in the same atmosphere with them, it kind of lets you be encouraged that, like you said, you do belong in this space and you do have what it takes to actually get out there and do it. There's just a couple of things that separate those that are doing it with those that aren't doing it. And
truly,
if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. And Maxwell, I actually got to hang out with like Maxwell more. Like, if I remember right, him and the band he was playing with at the time stayed at our place. Maybe, I don't remember, but that was a long time ago. That was probably like, I don't know, 2014 or something like that. But Maxwell's a great dude. I always really liked hanging out with them. He played with a band called Edson whenever I worked with them, and yeah, dude, they were just really down to earth, really good people. And I just have always enjoyed the camaraderie of, I feel like the people that have actually made it tend to be those people. I haven't met a lot of people on that level that have an ego. So yeah, I don't think it's a thing really that much on that level. I don't think you get very far in the world that we live in now having a massive ego in the music industry. Sure. I feel like it's more and more difficult to be that way.
Yeah. I think you get humbled pretty quick if you do.
Oh yeah. And I don't understand how anyone, I don't know. There's a lot of 11-year-olds that can play guitar better than me. Sure. So I don't know how you can have any ego about it,
Yeah. Oh, but still, there's obviously something you're doing better than an 11-year-old could, because, not that long ago, 2020. What's that?
I think I lost you for a second there.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you say?
I was saying, you must have something a little bit different than an 11-year-old, because it wasn't that long ago, here in 2020, that you advanced to the early rounds of casting for the NBC's The Voice, right?
Yep.
And in 21, it looks like you turned down a deal with SSM Nashville. I want to talk to you about these specific experiences because those are, opportunities that a lot of people they're, I guess wishing that they would have. And you had these experiences where one, you made it to a particular space where you think, oh, it might be a big break for me. And then another opportunity that you end up turning down. Like, talk to me about these experiences for those two in particular.
So the Voice one, it was during the pandemic. They actually emailed me, and apparently they have talent scouts out kind of looking for talent. I don't know if that was more of a pandemic thing or if that's just a thing. But they emailed me and asked if I'd be willing to send in an audition tape. I sent in 3 songs. They asked for, at the time anyway, they asked for 2 songs. I could do my own like guitar stuff. And then 1 song had to be like a karaoke style kind of thing. They liked it enough that I kept advancing further and further. It got to the point where I met with like the producers of the show. And they determined if you're going to be actually on TV or not on TV. And they didn't pick me for that. But it was a super cool experience to it sucked that it had to be this way. It was like that webcam style thing because of the pandemic. But usually, apparently, the part that I got to, they would usually fly you out to LA. You would meet these people in person. You would all do all that kind of stuff. But I never got that chance. But I did get to meet them on Zoom at the time. But it was a cool experience, man. It was cool to just have somebody believe in me to that level. And I think that in 2020, I was starting to really find my voice as an artist. I don't know. It takes a long time. I don't think people understand how long it takes to get to being an actual good artist for most people. And by good, I mean like to what the industry thinks is good. I mean, it's all subjective, but I feel like it takes at least 10 years. And I've heard that from a lot of people, but I feel like it takes that long for you to get to a point where you find a real voice of your own and you have like something that might draw more people in. There might be some people that get there earlier than that, but there's a lot of people that have talked about that. Chaperone's been one of those people that's talked about that. She's from my area as well, where I'm from. But a lot of people have talked about that kind of stuff, and it's true, I think. And for me, it took that long to finally get to the point where I think I was starting to be good enough to be considered by this kind of thing. And that might sound ridiculous if somebody knows about this whole voice thing and like whatever, but it's not. I think that you don't really find that confidence until you've been doing it for a long time. And then when it came to the label side of things, they offered me a deal that was not worth my time, in my opinion. And I think I think every artist should really think about those kind of things before they get into them, because you don't want to get into something that's going to be negatively affecting your career in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying that this would have negatively affected my career, the Nashville label thing. It just wasn't a good deal for me. It didn't make sense for me. And I'm not somebody that really thinks of myself that way. Like I'm pretty happy playing 100 gigs a year, 150 gigs a year, whatever. I'm pretty happy with the life that I live. So I'm not somebody that is like desperate to get famous or anything like that. I don't care about any of that. I just want to make good music and I want to just keep doing it, man. And that's I'm lucky enough to be able to. So that's what I would say to anybody that gets like a deal. Really think about it. Like really think about how it's going to affect you and how it's going to, like what it's going to cost you in the long run. It might have costed me. They wanted me to turn into like a country artist, like a straight country artist. And at the time I was not at all into that. Now I'm more that direction, but they wanted me to be like that more bro country, pop country kind of style. And I could have never done that. And I think it would have just been a soul sucking experience if I would have gone that direction. Yeah. And I found my way on my own. And I've recently I actually signed a deal just for one song, but with a label out of Atlanta, Georgia. No, not so far. It's called Young Outlaw Music. It's like it's
okay.
a small label out of Atlanta, Georgia. But yeah, I just signed a deal 2 weeks ago with them.
Okay. Congrats.
And it's for a new single of mine, and they're going to be working on marketing for me. They're doing a distribution deal, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for it. It's going to be
nice. What's the name of the single?
It's called Hello.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I was going to ask you about another track that I came across, but talk to me about Hello. What's the concept of it, and how did this come about, especially with this particular partnership?
Well, Hello, I wrote a while ago. There's actually some videos. I wrote it as a looper kind of song. So it has like a bass part and a drum part and all that kind of stuff. And I just do all my guitar. And originally I wrote it and I submitted it to like the Tiny Desk concert series and all that kind of stuff. And it helped me get like a regional thing for the Tiny Desk thing. But it's one of those kind of songs where it's very repetitive in a lot of ways. It's big, kind of epic sounding song. And big vocal parts, lots of like choir kind of style vocal parts mixed in with it. And it kind of just hits you like a wall. Like you don't expect the vocal parts to come in and it just boom, right in your face. But whenever I first kind of started working with this song, it's about an experience of having an ex partner wanting to contact you whenever you thought everything was over with them. And it's just basically like when you call, don't expect me to answer. Like, don't expect me to say hello because I've moved on. I'm trying to like make a better part in my life. I think that I've, changed my life for the better, and you're still trying to hang on. And sometimes like we just need to move on kind of attitude. And that's basically what the song's about. But yeah, overall, man, the production of that song, it's just a really big, epic kind of sounding song. I don't really know how else to describe it. If you're interested, I could send you over a little taste of it, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
Link that to me. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, awesome. This reminded me when you said this particular project was in partnership for one track, but I also seen that you were doing something so far. I don't know if you still are or not. Are you still collaborating with them?
I've worked with So Far Sounds. I've played like I think 3 different shows with them. I really would like to play a lot more So Far Sound shows in different markets than the one that I'm in. It's just been difficult to find dates that fit with them. Sure. But do you guys have So Far Sounds out in Boise area?
No.
No. So Far Sounds is like I don't know if you know what it is. Do you know what the?
No, not completely. That's part of what I wanted to ask you about. Yeah.
So it's a listening room style show, and it's a pop-up kind of show. And so it's a international website that does all these pop-up shows where they have like, it's kind of like a house show style thing where they have people hosting the show, and then they have those people inviting you, and then you get paid a certain amount based on all of that. But it's 3 different people in like a songwriting format. And it's really fun, man. It's 3 different artists. You talk about your songs, and it's listening room style. So they listen to every word that you're singing, and it's a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I was just looking it up right now to see if I had overlooked something. I'm like, I've been here forever, so I'd be surprised if they were around.
Yeah.
Hadn't heard about it, but no, they're not.
But it's like oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, from what I have been able to see, they're largely around singer-songwriters, right? That's kind of the audience, if you would, or the environment that they're creating. But you mentioned earlier too, you kind of like these smaller, intimate shows, right? Because I'm guessing that has to fit kind of pretty well, and has fueled a little bit about you as an artist and your identity as an artist as you're figuring that out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, what I really would like to do is start playing more of those songwriter kind of style festivals, because I think that that's really my niche, and I think that really fits me. Especially whenever the more I've progressed, I think more of my songs are lyric based songs and focus more on a story. And I think that it's really important for people to hear the whole story. And in order to do that, it has to be kind of an intimate kind of style setting, because people don't tend to listen that hard when they're just in like a bar or like, and so that I think is what I kind of want to focus on more going forward, is more of those kind of style things. and touring on that, because I think that's going to be the best way for me to have that connection with an audience that draws people into wanting to come see me more. Yeah. And that's always been my struggle, man. It's really hard to get audiences out sometimes. It can be a challenge. So that's always been the struggle. I think that's the struggle with anyone just trying to get audiences to come and actually see you play. But I don't know. It's something that I used to take personally, and I just think it's a cool thing to just be able to go out and play now. And I don't think about that anymore. And it's kind of nice.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you don't have this, I guess, weight or desperation was the word for it. You don't have this desperation. So that helps you to enjoy the craft a little bit more, because you're not, fueled by something different that's saying it must be a certain way.
Yeah, which I had a lot more in my brain whenever I first started this. I thought if I don't get this many fans or this much money or this many shows or whatever before I get to this age, then I need to stop doing it, and all this weird thought process. And I think it's kind of societally pushed on you. Yeah. But I never really started making a real living playing music until, I was past 30 years old. So it doesn't even really make sense to have that thought process. I don't think. I think people just need, if they really love it, they just need to push it, and just really, really keep trying to get better at it, and just keep loving it. For me, like, a huge change was getting my own production equipment at my house, just basic stuff, and being able to sit and tinker with things and become a better artist in my musicality, not trying to overplay. Not like when you can sit down and you can hear what you're doing, you can hear, like, man, I'm overplaying. Like, man, I'm doing way too much here. I need to let the song breathe, or, like that kind of thing. And that's something that I've learned in the past 5 years a lot, doing this solo thing, because there's not all that push pull with other artists and like where they think it should go. It's me just in my own head thinking about like where these songs should be. Yeah. And it's really helped me kind of really progress with my songwriting and all of that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Speaking of your songwriting process and kind of growth into this new stage that you're in right now, or new season, your latest album, Whiskey Won't Ever Leave Me, right? That you dropped here last year. Yeah. And I want to ask you about what you got upcoming for this year as well. But what was the theme behind this particular album? I don't want to assume anything in particular, but talk to me about it.
I feel like it's pretty easy to assume. It's about just how alcohol negatively affected my life for the most part. Where, while I've never been an addict, I wouldn't call myself somebody that was, like an actual addict when it came to alcohol. Never been an alcoholic, but I was borderline for a long time, and I definitely was. It definitely affected my relationships. So I'm sure some psychologists out there is like, bro, that means that you were an alcoholic. Yeah. I know my brother's one, and I'm sure that's what he'd be saying in this moment. But yeah, man, it's I haven't had that kind of uncomfortable relationship with it for the last 5 years, to where it's affecting my life in a way, negatively affecting my life. And but this album's about how it affects my life, how it's affected the lives of people around me. My partner was married to she was married to an alcoholic before me, or my fiance now. I keep saying partner. We just got engaged last month. So it's really hard for me. Thank you very much. But she was married before to an alcoholic, and it was one of those things where it was, it was difficult for her to get past that. And whenever we started dating, and it was just a lot easier for me to see how it was affecting me. Sure. And it was easy for me to see like what was hurting her in that relationship as well. And I definitely thought had a lot more deeper reflection in like how it was affecting my life. And a lot of this album is that kind of understanding. And then watching other people and how it affects their lives, and writing stories about that as well. My next release is still going to be from the Whiskey Will Never Leave Me playbook. It's going to be volume 2 of that same album. I'm releasing it 3 or 4 songs at a time. But I have 3 songs that are in the works right now. I just went in the studio actually last week, and we finished up 3 songs So I'm just waiting on the mixes, but yeah, it'll be the next iteration of that album. And then I'll have one more iteration of the album, which will be volume 3. And it'll be another 3 or 4 songs that are kind of along that same lines of vibe and style. It's the first album that I've made in a long time where everything kind of fits in a narrative and fits an actual full album. And I'm just excited to have an album out there, like a real album that has like a start to finish, like an actual story and something that actually can tell something deeper than just like a song can.
Yes, absolutely. No, well, that is exciting. I mean, when I was listening to it, I was like, there's a bigger project to this as I was listening to it, you know? So it makes sense that you're kind of unpacking this over a period of time here. So that's exciting news. Awesome.
Yeah, it's partially me unpacking. It's partially money. It's a lot of things, but of course, I mean, that's any independent artist. I think you're always kind of, waiting for that money to come in so you can do some more creative stuff.
Sure.
That's what I am anyway. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Bryan, you unpacked a bunch of, I would say, wisdom for people just interweaving in our conversation here. You've dropped some things that I think are insightful for a lot of musicians. I mean, the transparency about some of the stories that you tell in your music, to, you know, insights that you picked up along the way as you've kind of went through this over the last few decades from a band and working in that particular arena to now as a solo artist and whatnot. What would you leave as a kind of a final note of inspiration, if you would, or I guess encouragement for somebody that might be listening to this and maybe they're in a similar place where they've been traversing this route as a musician and they're just like, man, this is difficult, but I love music. I love the craft. I love producing. I love making music, etc. What would you say?
I would say try to expand your palette musically. Try to let yourself not have bounds. Don't think about what other people want you to be. Don't think about what other people want to hear from you. Think about what you truly feel and what you can actually communicate in a deeper way with your songs, because that's the only way that people actually see you for what you are. And I think it's the only way to really respect you as an artist is for you to give who you are and have that kind of passion for it. And if you do have that kind of passion for it, then keep doing it. There's no reason to stop. There's endless ways to make money and to make a living off of this industry. You just have to think outside the box sometimes, and you just have to think differently. Try not to be that person that just writes a song that you just, I don't know. Don't write songs based on like, hey, I'm going to write a hook and I'm going to write a pop song and I'm going to write whatever. Don't think about that. Just write what you feel and make it fit the song. And that's what's going to make a good song. That's my opinion of music anyway.
That's awesome. Well said. Well said. Well, I think listeners are going to really appreciate, you know, what you're bringing to the table and the music that you're producing. I'll be putting a playlist in here or one of your players from where you stream. Where can people find you at, by the way, online if they're wanting to connect?
Easiest way to find anything about me is BryanCopelandMusic.com. And then after that, you can find me on Spotify, iTunes, anything you listen to music on. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, Bryan, it's been a pleasure having you on deck here. Thank you for joining me.
It's been a pleasure talking, man. I appreciate you.
You got it. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Ooh.